Hello, and welcome to Bringing Accessibility to Faculty with Ally, a presentation on accessibility here at Cal State Northridge. We thank you for attending our session and hope you get something out of it. So about Cal State Northridge, we are a large public state institution with about 35,000 students and 2,500 faculty, which is a pretty large population. We are one of 23 campuses in the Cal State system, which, as many of you know, is the largest state system in the country. A bit about our structure: we have a division of information technology, which is a central IT department on campus. Within that group, we have academic technology, which is made up of primarily outward-facing organizations, and is which I'm in charge of. One of those is the Universal Design Center, which we'll talk more about later. Obligatory slide number 1A about us. My name is Allan Chen. I'm the Associate Vice President for Academic Technology in the Division of IT. I've been at CSUN for about a year. Previous to that, I was the CIO of a small liberal arts institution in Pennsylvania and a number of institutions in the Bay Area in Northern California.
And my name is Kate Tipton. I'm the Program Manager for the Universal Design Center. I've been at CSUN for 12 years now, but I've been with the UDC for 4. So a little about the Universal Design Center. We've been around for a little over 10 years now. Most of that time we were created out of, and most of that time we were part of academic affairs. Accessibility is something that the entire CSUN community participates in, but the Universal Design Center is the focal point for those efforts. We were created to champion a universal design approach to those accessibility requirements. We do reporting for the campus, and we provide data and reports to help guide campus policies and procedures. And again, with the goal that accessibility is everyone's responsibility, we empower faculty and staff to accomplish those goals.
Obligatory slide number 2, the agenda, very quickly. We'll have a brief history of accessibility at CSUN. We'll talk about the decision to bring Ally to campus. We'll talk about what Ally actually is. We will have a discussion about our rollout plan. We'll cover that, which I know many of you are interested in how we actually rolled it out. The faculty response, how we handle support, and then lessons learned and moving forward.
So CSUN has a long history with accessibility. Our Deaf and Hard of Hearing Services Department, the National Center on Deafness, was founded over 50 years ago, I believe. We have one of the largest and international conference on assistive technology that is in its 36th year in spring of 2021. So CSUN has been doing accessibility longer than some of the laws that we're currently bound by. The California State University system as a whole released the Accessible Technology Initiative, and they call on us to work in accessibility. That was in the early 2000s, and they call on us to work on accessibility in 3 areas: web, procurement, when we're bringing technology on campus, and instructional materials, the things that faculty put into our hands. And that is where Ally comes in.
One thing we want to point out that's somewhat unique at CSUN is that we have a pretty significant budget for accessibility. We appreciate this difference. We understand not every institution has the luxury of having a significant budget. For instance, the fact that the UDC exists at all is a testament to the commitment to accessibility at CSUN. We also have a dedicated budget towards captioning of instructional materials, whether that's a 10-minute video that a professor shows in class or a 3-hour lecture that's recorded in Zoom. So we certainly appreciate the difference here.
So I mentioned that at CSUN, accessibility is everyone's responsibility. We are lucky to have a Universal Design Center, but we're a very small group, 4 people. Our work is inherently collaborative. So we work with the departments on campus that provide accommodations and partners across the campus. We do joint trainings with some of these other centers and departments. We have tools beyond Ally. So Panopto was just introduced to campus, and we have multiple departments and centers working on that. We have Equagio that we're rolling out, and again, that's a partnership with our disability resources and educational services. So there's a challenge to accessibility because, of course, the law says, and the right thing to do is to have everything be accessible. That is the goal. But the reality is that not everything is accessible, and not everything's going to become accessible overnight. So at CSUN, you know, I've talked about it as a shared campus responsibility. Another thing we talk about is the teach them to fish model. So CSUN provides information and tools and training to our subject matter experts, our faculty and our staff who are creating content, to help them create that content in as accessible a format as possible. And then the Universal Design Center is the subject matter expert about accessibility. So if people get stuck, if they have questions, if they need training, we're able to provide that. Another thing we say at CSUN is progress over perfection. We are trying to make steady incremental progress towards that goal of universal accessibility. We're not asking any one person to fix everything overnight. So where does Ally come in? Ally is another tool, particularly for faculty, to help us accomplish that. Ally does three primary things. For faculty, it provides immediate feedback on the accessibility of their materials that are within our learning management system. At CSUN, that's Canvas. So they get that immediate feedback, and they get guidance within Ally, within Canvas, to make those materials more accessible, to fix the issues found. It's sort of a wizard format. For our students, they are able to download those materials in alternative formats. And then for us, we get more data, more information. The decision to bring Ally to campus rested in a couple points. We didn't know what we didn't know. We didn't have this, this information. And as I've mentioned, we do reporting. We provide reports to the Chancellor's office. So we may yet be called on to report on the accessibility of our instructional materials. We haven't yet, but they say that's coming. And Ally is a very effective way to gather that data, to provide that report. Also, the CSU system as a whole was going in this direction. So 5 campuses, not Northridge, but 5 CSUs were early adopters of Ally. And very quickly, the Chancellor's office helped sponsor the purchase, and multiple other campuses, including Northridge, joined in. We didn't expect Ally to do everything. Ally can't do everything. So our goals at Northridge were faculty awareness, and as I've mentioned previously, reporting. The faculty who are on every committee at the campus, you know, there's some folks who have heard the message about accessibility loud and clear, but of course we have a large and diverse body of faculty. We have folks who work a full-time job and teach 1 class in the evenings or in the weekends. We have folks that teach at multiple universities. And so by putting Ally into the learning management system, it was another very effective way to reach those folks. It's right there where they're working, where their materials are. And then, as I said, reporting was another goal. We'll talk about that. So Ally provides us a wealth of data that, that we never had before. We didn't know what was out there, how accessible it was. We didn't have any of this information. The data from Ally is limited to what is in Canvas, but that's a lot. Canvas adoption is high at our school, and it's great information. So we can break it down all kinds of different ways and get information. It also tracks progress over time, which is important to us as well. So we, at CSUN, at Northridge, we rolled it out a little slowly, perhaps compared to some other campuses. We had pilots first. We had early faculty adopters. Those went well enough that we, in the fall of 2019, we made Ally available to all faculty on request. And they did request it. And then we opened it up to everyone in the spring. And just this past summer, we made it so Ally is available on everything in Canvas, everything in the past, and everything moving forward. One of the reasons that we took it a little bit slowly is because for us, a priority was communication and consensus. We honestly weren't sure how the faculty would react to Ally. So we took a lot of time. We had that pilot group. We took a lot of time to gather information and also to reach out to the faculty community. So we did have an advisory working group with folks, some of our partners from all over campus. And then we were able to go out and communicate with deans and department chairs, with faculty governance. We also tried to reach faculty directly. And again, the communication and the pilot groups also gave us information so that we could try to anticipate as we rolled Ally out to more faculty what their needs would be.
So Ally exists in kind of a middle space in terms of support, which is a very important part of rolling out a product like Ally. So on the one hand, we call it Canvas Ally, and Canvas exists in the Faculty Technology Center, which is another group that reports up to me, which is the primary campus support team, administration, etc. The flip side is that Ally has its own ticketing system, so directly in Ally you can request help. That goes to the Universal Design Center. Universal Design Center therefore owns support for Ally. So on the one hand, it can be a little confusing about who supports it. The good news for us is that the Faculty Technology Center and the UDC coordinate very well with each other and communicate very effectively. But for those of you who are considering rolling out a product like this and have your LMS in one group and Ally perhaps in a different group, you'll have to definitely think about how the two groups are going to work together and how requests for support will flow back and forth. Kate's going to cover a little bit more about Ally training.
So we revamped our faculty-oriented training and put Ally at the heart of it. Enticing faculty to come to accessibility training had been a challenge for a number of years. Once we started rolling Ally out, one of the things we did is we packaged up faculty accessibility training with Ally at the heart. And then we used Ally to branch off to other topics like word accessibility. And then bring them back to show them how to use Ally to make their materials more accessible. And the response to this has been really good. We have faculty coming to our trainings in numbers and voices that we've never seen before. So these quotes are actually come from some of our trainings, but they are talking about both the training and the tool itself. That pilot group became key in another way because as we were going out to these, to these meetings, and such, and talking about Ally, it became really valuable to have a member of that pilot group there in the room to kind of take over and say, here was my experience with Ally. Here's the value that I found in it, you know, and let me stop talking because they heard enough from me. It's also really helpful for faculty to hear from faculty, to hear from directly from faculty what their experience with Ally was. So, what have we learned? A few different things. We were prepared for any kind of response from the faculty to Ally. We were introducing a new tool that checks their materials. We, you know, we tried to reach as many of them as we could and get as much feedback as we could, but we still weren't quite sure how they would take it. They took it surprisingly well. The response to Ally has been overwhelmingly positive, and some of our early concerns about a possible backlash never came to pass. Another thing that did catch us by surprise, so the response has been positive. We are, you know, we have a lot of experience with staff and that incremental improvement that I talked about at the beginning, but faculty aren't having it. They want that perfect score. They want that 100% perfect green dial on all of their materials. And it can be a little frustrating for them if they're not able to get that smoothly. So a couple of other things we noticed, Ally provides a variety of formats for students. We know there's been a good response to the audio format in other campuses. CSUN students universally prefer PDFs. They are the most downloaded file format is PDFs. So, and we also found a neat trick. Ally will take those scanned PDF, the image PDFs that are a major concern for us, they're a major concern for a lot of universities. Ally will attempt to convert those, but what we found is that we could take the Ally converted version and use that as the basis, and it takes care of it. It doesn't remediate the file, but it takes care of some of the steps and it speeds up remediation for us. That was a nice discovery. The shift to virtual learning. Everything we've been saying about accessibility for all these years and universal design for all of these years, that we need to meet our students where they're at and give them materials that they can access regardless of device or anything else. It's really hit home this year. And so Ally, again, helps us support that with that alternative formats option, you know, so students who are running into technical difficulties can download a file in a different format. They can download local copies of their materials if their internet connection is not perfect. So Ally's been even more valuable this year. A few things we're looking at moving forward. Blackboard is expanding the reporting capability of Ally, so that's really exciting for us. And we're looking forward to utilizing, we're already utilizing some of the new reporting features, looking forward to utilizing more as they come out. We've done a ton of communication with faculty. We have not done as much with students. So communicating to students, making sure they know that that alternate format is available to them. And then Blackboard is rolling out some other features to Ally. The screenshot is an example of the new Beeline format, which is optimized for screen reading, for reading on an e-reader or other screen. Ally also will attempt to translate materials into other languages. We have that disabled at CSUN, but that's something that we'll be exploring in the future.
So this is our obligatory and very important credits to all the photos that we use. So we thank all those photographers that provided images for this. And in conclusion, We've covered a number of different topics along with the importance of a proper implementation of a product like Ally. We wanted to really focus on a couple key points. So first of all, universal design. Universal design, the concept of providing learning metrics, learning types, accessible technologies, accessible documents to all students. And that is a core mission and goal of the UDC, and Ally helps us provide that. In addition, we talked about the accessibility challenge. Ally allows us to provide the kind of insight to faculty that they can then take their documents and make them more accessible over time. They can understand the importance of accessibility, etc. So Ally has proven to be a very powerful tool for us at CSUN, and we're really excited about moving forward with it. Our contact information is located here. We thank you for your time, and we hope you've enjoyed this presentation.